Poppy.
What do you want to say?
I want to say I love you, Poppy. I love you,
Okay.
Poppy.
Good enough. Anybody else?
It's going to be a quieter world here without him. But I'll tell you, I do know for a fact that that day on May 9th that there was an earthquake somewhere when he hit heaven. Because, as Debbie said, just him and Blackie alone would have been enough to have caused it. Not to mention all the others that were waiting on that man up there. So I was lucky enough to have him live with me for the last year and a half. It's been a real... Sorry, I haven't lost it until now. I'm really sorry about this, guys. It's been tough not having him there every day with me. But I've got him in spirit, and I have him here with all of the friends, and all the love that we have for everyone here. And we couldn't be here or do this without everybody. We love you all, and thank you very much for being here with us.
Our dad was a very, very special man. He had a lot of love for everybody he met. He had a lot of fun for everybody he met. He always made everything fun. Everything was a party. On the pictures out there, you'll notice there's a lot of different party scenes, and Dad was always the top one in it. We just had so much fun throughout life. My dad lived near me the majority of my life. He always had a trailer that was on our property. Wherever we lived, he lived with us. And we went to auctions on Friday nights, and we bought and sold horses, and we went and done everything. I mean, from cattle roundups to whatever. I was always there with my dad. I was his boy. He had Tara as a girl, and I was his little boy. So, you know, I had the cowboy boots on, and I had the old Stetson hat, and an old heavy, heavy cowboy shirt passed down from my uncle. And I would go to work with my dad when I was just a little girl. And as a plumber, they have these little things, I don't know what they are, they're little slug type things that are laying all over the ground, and he would tell me their money, and I would run around and pick all of those up, you know? And I think he was really just having me clean them up for him. And I had pockets full of them when I'd come home. But there are so many memories I have with my dad, I couldn't even start to bring in any of them to you. And my children, I have 6 children. I have 15 grandchildren. I have 5 great-grandchildren, and he was grandpa and poppy to all of them. And they all just loved and adored him. Some of them are here, some of them are not. This is my grandson Jacob over here, and his girl Danielle. I see them right up front. The little gal that you see running around is my youngest granddaughter, Braylon. My grandson Cooper spoke on behalf of Poppy. He's the youngest boy. Colton, he talked to you. He had nicknames for most of them, and I'm sure you guys don't even know what their real names are. So, Tyson, my nephew, Tara's son, is Charlie. So if any of you have heard of Charlie, that's him, the big guy over here in the door blocking the way. This is Hoss. And then we have Rowdy over there in the windowsill. Who told you his name was Rowdy?
Jim Dandy.
And Braylon was early girl because she got here a little bit early, and he said, she's my little hot tomato. So, and then we had this little guy here. And he was Jim Dandy. So he always had a nickname. Frankie was Ace. That was because I happened to go to Reno when I shouldn't have, and I had him on my way home. So he was Ace. Jamie was always Sissy. So she's Sissy from here on out. You know, I mean, she's never been anything but Sissy. And my next grandson is on his way. He's in Mama's tummy. I don't know where she's at, but everybody always called my dad Cowboy. My husband started it. My son then went on with it, Frankie, and everybody just kind of adopted that name. He was Cowboy. So our little guy that's coming up is going to be named Cowboy and have his middle name, so he'll be honored by him. So we've already got his nickname picked up for him, even though Poppy wasn't here to do it for him. So.
I'm Tyson, or Charlie. I'm Frank's oldest grandson, and obviously his favorite as well. At least for the first 3 months of my life, until Jamie came around. So when I got his about 2 years ago, I wrote a little book for him, for like a tableside book for him to keep, just about kind of what I thought of my grandpa type thing for him to read from time to time. And I've got little notes here from it from when I wrote it. But it says, "My Grandpa" by Charlie. As a child growing up, I spent a lot of time with my grandpa. Since a baby, he's never called me by my name, just instead I was always Charlie. Like most kids growing up, I learned a lot from my grandpa. However, I suspect I learned different things than most. You see, my grandpa's not like most. He's different than theirs. Instead of walks in the park, we went for rides in the mountains on horseback. Instead of leisurely Sundays drives in town cars, we rode around in plumbing trucks to job sites. Instead of trips to museums learning about fossils and artifacts, we would go to the Clayton Club and learn to play liar's dice and hustle pool. On Easter Sundays, we didn't go to brunch and church, and like most people, we go to the Horseman's Club where I admire my grandpa's picture on the wall with all the other presidents that served before him. My grandpa isn't the type of guy to hang out at the bingo halls and go make a blue lunch special dinner. You're more likely to find him in the barn or the local honky-tonk, stay until they kick him out at closing. He doesn't have a pal he sits around with and reminisces and bickers back and forth about the good old days. He's got a couple rowdy good old boys, and he still chase women, drink beer, and fist fight each other until the end of the night. My grandpa isn't the type to have a quaint lady friend who enjoys passing time with. He's the type to have girls half his age chase him around night after night after night. You'll never find him wearing sweaters or sports coats. You'll find him more than likely in Wranglers and Spurs, well worn. You won't catch my grandpa at doctor's offices getting checkups and pharmacies. You'll probably see him dusting himself off and rubbing some dirt on it like it's no big deal. I never went to the country clubs to play tennis or golf with my grandpa. We were busy picking up hay and bucking 2 tons of alpha for the winter. Some might say that my grandpa didn't always do things right. But in my childhood, in his grandchild's eye, or in my eyes, he always did the right thing. I guess you could say that I learned a lot from my grandpa, things that I wouldn't trade any child or any other childhood. You see, I learned things that those other kids didn't get to learn. I learned how to have the courage to be tough and how to be a man, and learned from one of the best. My grandfather was a man's man, a guy who wouldn't take shit from anybody, at the same time would give anything for anybody. To a young boy, he was more than just a grandfather. He was larger than life. He was my hero. I guess what I'm saying is that my grandfather, he's not like most. My grandfather's different than yours. My grandpa was a cowboy.
Well, Grandpa, it was a hell of a ride with me, 42 years with you. Love you, man.
My name's Colton Farr. I just changed, so you guys were wondering why.
Oh, you have the cowboy clothes on.
Yeah, I had the cowboy clothes on. I changed. So I remember I was like 5. We used to live in Oregon on a ranch, and my poppy, he was out there with a gun one night and a little chair, right? And he's waiting out there by gopher holes. And I said, "Poppy, what are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, I'm waiting for them gophers." I said, "Okay." So we come back later in a train, and we stopped there, and we asked if he wanted to eat. He said, "No, I'm fine." I'm like, "Okay, when are you gonna come in?" He's like, "As soon as this gopher comes up." Well, then it was about 2 more hours later, and we went out there again. The gopher still doesn't come up, and he's getting angry at himself, right? Wondering when the gopher's gonna come up. But then you put a hose down in the gopher hole and drained him out. So I was 5, I didn't know what was happening, right? And so that gopher popped up and boom, shot him right between the eyes.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, was I scared. I had to take a couple seconds and realized he was dead. But yeah, I guess that's it.
My name is Billy, in case you don't know me. I've been with Frank for 31 years. We've had a lot of good times. And I just want to thank everybody who showed up today to make his day a special day for Frank. Because this is exactly what he wanted, was a great big party and a lot of fun. And I want to thank Tara and Roxanne and his other daughter, Barbara, for putting this big affair on. And they did a wonderful job, and he'd be so proud of all three of us. And I'm going to give this mic to somebody else. You all have seen the movie, and you know the life I've lived with Frank. It was full. From the moment I met him, it was fun. And that's all I can say.
Can you tell us how
He's a great guy.
Can you tell us how you met Frank?
Yes. That's a good story. Well, I had worked at the Clayton Club for about a month, I guess, maybe that long. And Frank had come in. He was on a DI. Had been picked up drunk, and I didn't do too much about people that drank. But anyway, he had been picked up drunk, and they had taken his driver's license away. And he came in after work. He was a plumber, and he come in and he sat at the other end of the bar. And Frank was thinking, I wonder where Marion got this dumb blonde. And so I walk up to him and I says, yes sir, what would you like to drink? And he says, I want a Virgin Mary. And I thought, I wonder what a Virgin Mary is. And I told my boss when I started to work there that if I didn't know something, I would ask them what went in a Virgin Mary. So I walked back to the middle of the bar and I thought, oh God, he's this dumb. So I went back and he was kind of cocky. And so I went back and I says, do you mind telling me what goes in a Virgin Mary? And he says, God, she did it again. And I says, what do you mean by that? And he says, you don't know how to make a Virgin Mary? And I says, I wouldn't be standing here asking you if I knew. I says, what goes in it? And so then he told me. And then I went down, and oh boy, if I'd have had any poison behind the counter, I'd have jumped in. And I walked back, and I set it there, and then I ignored him the rest of the evening. Well, he had a buddy there that he'd come in, Bill, an insurance man, and this Bill had taken with my girlfriend, Barbara. And so I didn't know about it, but they set up this blind date, and it was Frank who I went out with. But then after that evening, it was him and I.
What did he say when he saw you?
Oh, he was happy. He was happy anytime he had a girl in his arms. But anyway, that's how I met Frank, and we had a lot of great times together. I wish we could start it all over again.
Yeah, I bet you do.
And thanks for everybody showing up, because this would have meant the world to him. For 25 years, I always heard from Frank, if I ever pass away, make sure you have a big party. But he says, I'll go before you. And I says, oh, don't worry about it. We'll have a big party for you. And so his daughters did a beautiful job. Thank you, Roxanne, and thank you, Tara, wherever you are.
Frank, rest his soul. I was laying in bed last night, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. My mind was going. So many good times we had together. I was thinking, okay, what am I going to say today? Well, for one thing, my dad died when he was 54. And my dad could never be replaced, you know, my real dad. But I called Frank, but it didn't take long till I considered him my stepdad. Now, when I was only 30 years old when he met my mother, and a 30-year-old son, for another man to come in and take his dad's place was pretty tough. But it didn't take long that Frank grew on me. And as you know, Frank had many friends. Everybody loved Frank. So a little bit about Frank's character. Everybody knows Frank liked to have a good time. Went out to the Clayton Club, have a few drinks. Just loved life, right? Well, a few times he got behind the steering wheel when probably shouldn't have. But I visualize Frank coming home, going in the bathroom, sitting down on the toilet, and trying to buckle a seatbelt. And that's when you know you've had too much to drink. Well, ironically, the last couple of years, Frank really didn't drink much of anything. But ironically, we really had to get Frank a seatbelt for the toilet because he would get up in the middle of the night, go in there to the bathroom, fall asleep, fall off the toilet and crack his noggin. So things just went full circle, you know. And Frank was a plumber by trade, as you all know, but he could have been a carpenter too. Give him a hammer, give him a saw, he could build you anything. But give Frank a screw gun, and he would go crazy. I mean, if 2 screws were good, 5 were a lot better. The last job he did, I think, was build a gate for Mom. And it was a piece of 1x2 going up this way. Well, he called me over to help him finish the gate. And I said, Frank, you think you got enough screws in here? Every 2 inches on this 1x2, there was a screw. So he just loves screws, I tell you.
He borrowed your screw gun.
Yeah.
Try it out.
And so Frank, being from the Midwest, you know, he was an improviser. I think he could fix anything or find a way to fix anything. So one time we're sitting around and Frank says, yeah, I can remember, he says, I was back in the woods, and I don't know what he was, I forget what he was doing back there, but his master cylinder, he had an old car, his master cylinder leaked fluid. Well, he got back in his car ready to go, had no brakes. But he said the only thing I had was a 1/5 of whiskey. So he said I poured it in the master cylinder, got me all the way home. And if that wasn't good enough, then he said, at one time I had a leaky radiator. And he goes, I had some oatmeal, didn't know what to do with it, dumped it in the radiator, no more leak. So he was an improviser and a good old guy. And I know today he's probably looking down at us and he's thinking about the NASCAR race in Sonoma that's going on right now. He loved NASCAR. So one last story. We go over to Arizona every winter for about 4 months. And we all have ATVs, side-by-sides, 4-wheel drive ones. Well, Frank bought this used ATV, if you will, but it's only 2-wheel drive. And he went every place we went with that thing. And one day, my son, Frank, myself, we decided we were going to go on this, trailered our ATVs over to this lake and go on this trail that was marked. Well, this trail had hills that went up like this, down like this. So we go up this one hill, it was really steep. And as soon as you go up, if you didn't turn left, you'd go right over the other side. And sure enough, on the other side, honest to God, there was 2 vehicles that had been there for years that were on their roof. It just went right on over. So Frank comes down this hill, and he's just white. He's just white as it goes. And I said, what's wrong, Frank? He goes, you know, I only got front brakes on this thing. When we got back to the car, I said, Frank, you've got a testosterone level that must be up here. Your testicles must be this big because you're crazy.
So, God bless. He's told things about Frank, and I could sit here and talk about him too. He was a wonderful guy. I really enjoyed being around him. As a matter of fact, I think it was 2003, I went down to Wickenburg to work with him on a trail rise ranch. And I'm telling you, that was an experience. There was good things. First of all, I didn't like going to the cowboy bars, so he talked me into joining the Elks Lodge. And it was the best thing I ever moved. A couple things happened down there that you horse people will get a kick out of. One time this guy came in with these Danner boots like motorcycle cops wear. And I said, you always wear those boots? And he said, I always wear these boots when I ride. So he went to get on the horse, and I was holding the bridle, and he put his right foot, we were on the left side of the horse, he put his right foot in the stirrup. And he started jumping, and finally I got him turned around, put the left foot in so he could get his other foot over the top. And Frank was just sitting over there busting a gut. He said, you handled that real well. I said, what the hell was I supposed to do? You know, the only thing I could do was get a ladder and get him up there. Another time Frank was out on the trail and he had some youngsters on a horse. and they went by a cave, and he did this every time he went by a cave. By that cave, he said, you know, I think there's bears in that cave. Well, there aren't too many bears in Arizona, southern Arizona. So he did this to this youngster, and the youngster stopped his horse and said, help me. Frank said, what kind of help do you need? He said, is there a bear in there? Frank said, yeah, I think I see his eyes. Kid says, I'm going to get off and get that bear. So Frank came in and he was just busting the gut. That's another life. The fun down there we had was so great. I just can't tell you how much fun we had in the 5 months I spent with him. And Frank,
We'll miss you.
may your place be soft and safe forever.
Hi, we're Jerry and Suzanne McLean, and although we've only known Frank for just about 7 years, we have lots of wonderful memories of Frank, and so we're honored to just be able to say a few words, and I hope we can do it in a few
Well, you know,
words.
Frank was a character.
He was a
had
character.
a great sense of humor. I remember sitting down and talking to one of the Billies one day. And we're talking about, you know, the farm, and Frank grew up and he was telling me all these stories about pigs and things like that. And I said, well, you know, Frank, you know, if you're from Missouri, Missouri's the show me state. So you're supposed to, you know, so like show me. And he said, you want me to show you? And I said, yeah. And there was a little pause and he said, I just did. I said, what? He said, you missed it.
Frank had a way about him.
That was Frank.
That was Frank.
Yeah.
And Frank was so loving, loved people, loved life, loved life. And you know, our family had great times with him. A little bit ornery, a little bit colorful language.
Colorful language.
Yeah, maybe a couple too many beers. But
if you didn't like Frank, you didn't like life.
You didn't like life. And we miss him terribly. And Frank, we know that you are causing trouble in heaven right now. You're organizing a pinochle game and rounds on the house for everybody.
And we
No
wish we
doubt.
could be there. We
We
really
wish
do.
we could. We are sorry, but we love you, Frank.
My name is Debbie Maloney. I'm a member of the Contra Costa Horsemen. And Frank and my dad were real good friends. Real good friends. My dad was Blackie Davis. A lot of you know him, a lot of you don't. And if you do, you know what I'm talking about. Yes. Frank was our main trail boss here at the Horsemen. They used to call him Getting Lost Gibben because that's what he did. Everybody got lost when they went with Frank. So he was a good guy. My dad had a real good time with him. They were partners in crime some of the time. I just want to say everybody's going to miss him. He was a lot of fun. He used to come here and he'd bring sagebrush and drop him off for a week or two. And we had a good time with sagebrush till sagebrush got out one day. And he ended up out here in the arena by some help of one of the other caretakers that lived here with me. But we got him back in. Frank was happy. He wasn't out on the freeway somewhere. So he'll be missed by a lot of people. He's been missed around here for a long time. He was a mainstay here at the Contra Costa Horsemen. And I just want to say thank you for everybody who came out for him today, because he deserved it. Thank you.